Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boys blues, 1975. YouTubers on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long boys blues, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975, and welcome back to another nostalgic memories of video. And I want to talk breakfast cereal. Yeah, you're probably thinking to yourself, how nostalgic can you be about breakfast cereal? Well, safe to say, if you're in the ballpark of my age, a lot, and I'm pretty sure people, as I said, in this kind of ballpark will remember what a big deal the stuff you got free with breakfast cereal was back in the day. Now, this memories video, came out of nowhere. I was walking down the cereal aisle earlier on, when I was doing my shopping, and I was looking at it, and two observations spring to mind. The first observation is, and yes, I understand when I was a kid, and bearing in mind I was born in 1975, so the late 70s and the early 80s is when I ate breakfast cereal. Sort of the late 70s, early 80s to mid 80s, late 80s and early 90s, because of exams and stuff like that. I don't know, I just became one of those people that would have a cold slice of toast with Marmite on it and a lukewarm cup of tea. Not because that's the British way we serve these things, but because it was about maximizing the amount of time you could stay in bed before getting up at the latest, shoving down the breakfast that your mum made, and then legging it to catch the school bus. All about those extra minutes in bed. Anyway, that's by the way. So yeah, that was the period I'm talking about. Late 70s, early 80s, and breakfast cereal giveaways, mail-ins, and particularly what I really want to talk about in the box stuff was fantastic. Anyway, the observations I want to make are, whatever happened to that? I mean, are there rules now? There's rules about everything, how much sugar you can have, that sugar tax and shit like that. I mean, if you think the sugar tax is about the government giving a fuck about your health and not about just a blatant tax grab, then I'm sorry, you're wrong. Simple as. But yeah, I guess you can't give certain stuff away free or can't put stuff in the box anymore because you're encouraging people to eat unnecessarily high levels of salt and or sugar. Boring random fact, all the cereals you can buy in this country made by Kellogg's that you can also buy in the States. I mean, like, obviously we call them Frosties, but they call them Frosted Flakes. Ours have twice the level of sugar and salt in. Apparently, according to Kellogg's, that's how the British people like it. I've eaten those cereals in America when I was a kid and they taste exactly the same, so that's bullshit. Just saying, make it addictive. But anyway, getting off tangent. Ooh, tangent, politics. But when did breakfast turn into dessert? You know what I'm talking about. Ignoring the stuff you can spread on toast now, where you've got Malteser spread, Snickers spread, Mars spread, marshmallow fluff spread. I mean, why you would want to put anything on your toast other than Marmite, I don't know. But Milky Way spread, Reese's Pieces spread, that's not breakfast, but that's what they market it as because they say energy for a healthy start to the day. But ignoring that, you've got breakfast cereals, and yes, we had Frosted Flakes and Cocoa Pops when I was a kid. You could argue that they're not particularly healthy, but and Ready Break, which was loaded with salt. But Cookie Crisp, Crave, which is like crispy outer coating with chocolate inside. I mean, I walked down it and just went, dessert, 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 pudding, pudding, dessert, pudding, dessert, pudding. Wow, no wonder we've got an obesity crisis in this country. But yeah, like that, and the fact that nothing comes free in cereal anymore. Although I think I did see 2 years ago a free spoon that was made out of plastic that you could suck the milk up from your Cocoa Pops afterwards like a milkshake. Whoa. Because what I did notice was everything on the box to promote it, even if it was movies and stuff like that, was nothing given away free inside. Maybe a picture of Darth Vader when Star Wars around and stuff like that on the front and shit. But everything was a 2-for-1 for Thorpe Park or a 2-for-1 for Alton Towers. Or kids go free or this book reading event, which is to be, commended because literacy and stuff like that. But bottom line is that young kids sat at the breakfast table couldn't give a shit about that. They're having breakfast. It should be a distraction from when they're about to go to school and learn all that stuff anyway. Sorry, I'm being bitter, but that's how I remembered it. But yeah, there's nothing in the box now. The reason I say I'm nostalgic about this was breakfast was a big deal when you before you went to like primary school. Before I can remember going to infants. Were you in how old? What branch in this country of primary school were you in when I can remember being six? But breakfast was fantastic. You start the day in the kitchen. You know, it's like it was like a social hub. You didn't have a TV. We didn't have a TV in our kitchen. You didn't have phones, anything like this. Your interactive start to your day was reading the back of a cereal box. Three kids, got expensive. We were allowed one cereal each, but we weren't allowed another one because of the freebies and shit until we physically finished it. But I mean, all right, you get cutouts and stuff now, but I mean, who does remember reading the back of the cereal box again and again? There was only so much information you could take from it, but you loved it, particularly when it was promoting movies and things like that. I'm going to save that to. I've written some some fantastic mentions I do remember. Don't like reading from a sheet, but I had to write them down to make sure I covered these to understand the excitement me and my brothers had. But yeah, it was a big important part of the day. Like I said, didn't read any of the nutritional information, didn't give a shit about that, but just read everything about it, flipped it. If you were lucky enough to have something inside, despite what your mum said, you shove your hand in, bollocks to the germs and stuff like that, in the hygiene. Hand goes in, rummage around. Hey, it's you who's going to consume it later. Anyway, but that was a nice start to the day. Some big cereals I do remember from back in the day. Obviously, Weetabix, healthy. Shredded wheat, healthy. We watched the adverts where you couldn't eat three of them, so we all tried to eat three of them, and we found out it was actually pretty easy. Kudos on the marketing ploy. Frosties, Frosted Flakes, Rice Krispies, Rice Snaps, Wheatos. They were chocolate covered, weren't they? Cocoa Pops. Yeah, actually, do you know, Ready Break, that was lethal. There was some pretty unhealthy shit back then. So I guess when I walk around, in the shopping aisle earlier on and said, when did breakfast become dessert? It's always been dessert to some degree. Never liked shredded wheat, never liked cornflakes. I mean, it's just meh. Oh, crunchy nut cornflakes, obviously, but you didn't eat them as a kid because they were considered healthy. And if I had shredded wheat or Weetabix, anything that wasn't Frosties, I would cake it in sugar. I can't believe my mum used to let us do this, to the point when there was a crust on it and you would stick the spoon in and it would actually go crack. Seriously. Maybe that's why once I got sort of past the age of 13, I lost my sweet tooth completely and utterly and didn't like chocolate ice cream or anything like that because I basically OD'd on it and burnt out on it, in my early years. But these were brilliant things. These were brilliant things. And again, I cannot explain to people, if you are young watching this, what a big deal something free was in the box. Now, you would have the standard, like, stupid little model plastic versions that you would put together, clip on limbs and stuff like that. They'd all be one color. Of the characters on the box, such as Tony the Tiger Man, who was the enemy, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, I can't remember the name of the Cocoa Pop Monkey in what's his name, the Rice Snap Space bloke. He'd have all those, and they were like regular stuff. And obviously, even as a kid, I do remember thinking, why? Well, we know now it was a prototype in the adverts that looked shiny and fantastic. And your parents would say, it's not going to look like that. Don't buy it. Just buy something else, or I won't buy it for you. Then when you got home, you stuck your hand in the packet in the morning, opened it up. Or you were sneaky. You'd try and take it out, reseal it, and then redo the top because they had that locking lid thing, so you could get out before your brothers did. But yeah, they were more often than not they were shit. They were absolute rubbish. But then Frosties set the standard. Who remembers this? When you collected a certain number of tokens and you would join their club, which basically meant you got a comic, a Trans Am with the Tony the Tiger red stripes down it. There was a Matchbox car, so it was good quality. Couple of figures, couple of stickers, pencils and stuff like that. And that was a big deal. That was a big deal. It had who remembers the please allow 28 days for delivery? And it would take that month. Probably because they're sending it, second class. That set a standard. That was amazing. Pen, stickers, comic, Matchbox car. Did it again the next year. Same rinse and repeat. But you got a Jeep Cherokee or something with the Tony the Tiger stripes down it. That was something else. And I think Frosties went through the roof with that. But these were the ones where you would collect 6 tokens. Rice Krispies, and this was kind of lame, but we still liked it when we were kids, did a mail-in bowl offer where you would get 3 different types of bowls with the characters printed on the bottom inside, and they're proper, like China bowls and stuff like that. That was kind of cool. And you had a mail order ones. I'm just trying to think, because they were the ones that you liked. You got good stuff. Yes. Weetabix did you could collect a number of tokens and they would give you chart tapes of songs that were probably 2 years old, like a cassette tape. Collect a number of tokens, they send you a tape. Yeah, again, I don't think there are any mail offer things, are there, on Serial anymore? Send you a tape and it had two songs on one side, two songs on the other side. And I think it's some of our earliest exposures to music, apart from my dad playing classic stuff and stuff like Buddy Holly, in the car and that. And I remember one side of it was Thompson Twins. Was it Can't You See I'm Burning, Burning? With Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And then the other side was Five Star, I think, and I can't remember what the song was. And there was three varieties of these tapes. So conveniently, my parents could get one for each of us, which made Weetabix very, very rich because we ate a shitload of Weetabix cereal. But Weetabix also did something else that was really, really cool to cash in on then. So this gives you an indication of how old it is. And I've still got this tape upstairs in my Spectrum Games collection. And I should possibly do a gameplay of it on my YouTube channel one time. It's a god-awful game, but they, capitalize on this whole microcomputer, fad, if you will. Yeah, that never lasted, did it? Yeah, there was no crash of the market over here. It was, you collect a certain number of tokens and you get a game called Weetabix versus the Titchies, because at this point Weetabix had characters that were biscuits with faces on, wearing very 80s dungarees and white shirts and trainers and stuff. There was like a bunch of four blokes and one, female one. And it was them in a game where it was Space Invaders, and you'd be one of them. And the Titchies were this thing they had advertised as the enemy of Weetabix in all their commercials, where they were trying to flog you or promote to get you a free promotion, stuff like that. As bad breakfast, that was the Titchies. They don't fill you up, but Weetabix fills you up till lunch. Cough, even as a kid, I called bollocks on that. And you collected all these tokens, and you got ZX Spectrum game. I'm sure they must have done Commodore and Amstrad. Well, maybe not Amstrad, because that kicked in later. I don't know. If you remember, please let me know. And the game was rubbish, but it was still amazing to wait and get. Oh my god, I'm getting a computer game for free. Obviously, as an adult, nothing's free. In the post, and basically there was one missile at the side, and you would get it, run out, chuck it up at a Titchy, which was basically Space Invaders coming down, go back to the left, pick up another missile, chuck it up, because you could only do one at a time. But again, it was mind blowing. There was none of this like 2-for-1 offers for a fucking amusement park or anything like that. It was tangible stuff you would get. That was epic. The other one was shredded wheat, because this was another one when certain movies would come out, they would fight over each other to promote the movies, and you would have a scene from the movie on the back and stickers in the box to stick on the scene of the movie. Now this sounds shit now, but this was mind-blowing as a kid. And it was, I remember Ghostbusters. Oh, and you used to get, and in the pack of stickers, you would also get one big Ghostbusters sticker, like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the logo, Slimer, and being massive, into Ghostbusters, and it being the cool thing. Even before you saw this would kick in, before the movie. This was a big deal. This shifted loads of cereal. Weetabix promoted, I remember this, Flash Gordon trading cards. You would get Flash Gordon for, that movie, trading cards. You open them up, you tear bits off the side and the top, and then they'd open up, and you could separate them into like 5 or so cards depicting scenes from the movie. Again, it was a big movie. I'm really young at this point. And that was really, really, really cool. I liked the stuff that came in the box. It may have been inferior to the mail-in stuff, but it was just nice to sit at your breakfast table in the morning. It's a little kid, like 5 years old, sometimes younger, just sticking your hand in the box and pulling it out and going, Shredded Wheat did Jaws 3D. You would have a scene, Jaws 3D. Like big fucking kids eating breakfast with a big picture of a shark at the back about to chomp on one of the water skiers, printed in black and white, but with red and blue, whatever it was, lines around it. And you got 3D glasses in the box. And then, and each box would have a different scene on the back, so you could collect other ones, but you get a small preview of all the scenes down the side. And the 3D, much like most of those 3D things on paper or, outside of cinemas, even back then, didn't work for shit. But it was mind-blowing when you saw the advert. Jaws 3D now on the back of your cereal box. Live the movie. Live the movie through one stationary picture that doesn't work. But we fell for it, and it made breakfast special, and it was that kind of cool thing. Shredded Wheat and Weetabix looked like they were doing the best ones. I forget which one it was, but when the Transformer phase kicked off, one of them, I want to say it was a Kellogg's one, did these paper dart planes inside the box. I was seeing the adverts on this. They were paper darts that you could move the wings and stuff like that, twist stuff around very crudely, and then they would kind of look like the robot. And they were all the, like Sky War, Starscream, Thunder, Cracker, stuff like that. They were based on those, Decepticon planes. And Transformers had just got massive at this moment because TVM was showing it in the morning. And so they weren't like cut out on the back. They were darts inside, and I think people were fighting in the aisles to get that promotion of cereal boxes. And when you got them, they were crap. They did fly really well, but they hit anything like they bust. And if you tried to turn them from plane to robot too many times because they were cardboard, they'd fall apart. But the first time you got one taken out of the box, it was still bloody awesome because it was a Transformers, and Transformers was a big thing. The toys were really expensive, so we couldn't have the toys, and the commercial made it look like toys. Can you tell where I'm going? Where I'm going with this? Yeah, and then you had Wheatos that gave you a proper competition standard yo-yo that was orange and had Wheatos on. I switched allegiance to Wheatos to get that, even though they were god awful wheat disc things that had too much cocoa on. Yes, there is such a thing as too much cocoa in your cereal. But I wanted the yo-yo, and now we understand why they did this whole marketing thing. But yeah, what else was there? Jaws 3D, the Charted Special. Oh, hang on. There was one. What was it? I'm having a complete and utter brain fart. Dungeons and Dragons. Again, shredded wheat were an absolute amazing one. I'm having a brain fart. I wrote it down. Yeah, it was Dungeons and Dragons. The cartoon was absolutely massive at this point. So they did this promo where you got holograms, and they were really good holograms in the box. There was like a Dungeons and Dragons embossed card with a hologram in the middle about yay big, so pretty big, and they weren't any of the characters from the TV show, but we didn't care because the TV show was massive. Toy lines were out, which only had one character from the TV show, but again, we didn't care. But they had these really good holograms, like this barbarian, this bloke, this skeleton warrior. I mean, as in you could, not this fake lens ticular shit. This was, although you got loads of those things in cereals as well, lens ticular stuff. But this was like a proper, you could move it around, and you would trade them at school, and they were fantastic, and that was a big deal. Everyone went batshit crazy for that because it was like, it's giving, now holograms was just suddenly the big thing back then. It's a picture that moves. I'm a small child. I cannot process that in my ickle brain. But yeah, like 5 or 6 of them to collect. Never got all of them, only got 3. I think everyone at school only got the 3 of them. I should really look on eBay and see, or Amazon, and see if you can find them. But yeah, stuff like this. Like I said, there was mail order stuff and things like that, but it was what you got in the box that made it truly brilliant. And that's what I noticed when I walked down the cereal aisle earlier on. There is nothing in the box anymore. Again, it's this rules, restrictions, things you can't do to promote food, or I don't know, coax sold into buying something, they wouldn't necessarily purchase or whatever like that, because perish the thought that the state lets us think for ourselves anymore. But yeah, that was a big deal. Again, maybe because lack of technology around then, and your morning routine before you went to school, breakfast was a big deal, and reading the boxes, getting something cool, getting something you could take to school to trade. Fantastic. And I can't help but think, oh, maybe I don't know kids these days, can't help but think that that's a really, sad thing. It's a shame. This was a big rite of passage to me and my generation as a kid. Or maybe I've just waffled complete bollocks for the past 10 or so minutes. I would love to know what you think. With the toys, the freebies, the mail-ins on cereal boxes back in the day when you were a kid, was that as big a deal for you, or am I just alone on this one? Anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.